Hello everybody, and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution. So, if you're wondering where I've been for the past week or so, it's been because I've been playing this game, enjoying myself, loving it. So, yeah, as you can see here, I played for about 40 hours, and I pretty much 100% the game right here. I completed all the missions on the islands, I 100% all the dinosaurs, I got all of them, and I 5-starred all of the parks. So, yeah, the only exception to this is Isla Muerta, obviously, because that's a sandbox, but yeah, something else I'd like to say before we begin, there's going to be a stream Friday when the Fallen Kingdom patch releases, where I'm going to be making a park on Isla Muerta with these dinosaurs. At around 12 PM EST, I believe, is when the stream will happen, so yeah, hope y'all come. But anyway, I figured that since I didn't give any of you guys Jurassic World Evolution content since its release, I thought might as well show you the things I have done. So first of all, we're going to start with Isla Matanceros. We're mostly going to focus on the dinosaurs, obviously, since most of the park stuff, most of the visitor stuff is just, you know, management. I do appreciate that each of the islands seem to have their own gimmick. Like this one's just the beginner island. It's the one where you get your feet wet with all the mechanics and such. So here we go. So yeah, I've kept it relatively the same. Like the main herbivore paddock that you get at the start is still the same. It's got all the same dinosaurs. We got Triceratops here. A couple of them in here. How many do we have? I believe 2. Oh yeah, we can see the other one across the lake there. And then we also got a herd of Montosaurs. One of my favorite dinosaurs in Jurassic World Evolution. I love the design of this thing. Absolutely gorgeous. And then we got a big flock of Struthiomimus in here as well, of various colors. This is when I was testing around with the mechanics and such. I didn't know entirely how the game worked, so I didn't know exactly how to up my rating to 5 stars, so I just gave my dinosaurs as sensationalist coloration and gene splicing as possible, hoping that'd work. Which kinda did, but at the same time it kinda doesn't, so yeah. That'll explain why you'll see a lot of interesting design choices with these animals. So yeah, and there's also one other animal in here. Oh, the Dracorex. Here we go. There's a couple of them in here, not too many though. These guys are probably the pickiest when it comes to social needs and the amount of other animals that have to be in their exhibit. Like, yeah, it's directly at their limit right now. If I had any more dinosaurs in here, they get mad. So, oh, hello. Alright, there we go. There's the other one. There's 3 of these guys in here, I think. I don't know where the other one is. How many Struthiomimus are in here? 1, 2... Where is it? It's 4 of them. Oh, forgive me. Throat. Nah. Alright. See, there's 4 Struthiomimus, 3 Dracorex, 3 Montosaurus, and 2 Trikes. Pretty balanced. I like it. So yeah, and then there's only, I believe there's only one other herbivore enclosure. And it's this herd of Crichtonsaurus over here. And Ankylosaurs are relatively antisocial. This is the... I believe we can add one more Crichtonsaurus in here before it goes over the edge, but yeah, they don't really like other company, basically, so that's why they got their own enclosure in here. And this is also the first deluxe edition dinosaur, right here. You unlock this guy on Matanceros. Absolutely beautiful. And also something else that I forgot to mention, you will see all the dinosaurs in this game during the showcase. I made sure to have all of them. on the 5 deaths, and I've tried to like make it as varied as possible. There will be some overlap because of the needs of missions and stuff, but for the most part, all the fauna that you'll see on different islands are very different from one another. So here we go, Crichtonsaurus. And then I believe here's a Ceratosaur enclosure. I love the design of this dinosaur. A lot of people were kind of bothered that they only showed this guy during promo material, but I think it was a good choice. It's not one of the biggest bads like the T-Rex, Spinosaurus, or Indominus, but it has an amazing design. It's definitely something that catches your attention. It's like the Jurassic Park 3 design, but then made better in every way, basically. And I believe I actually have 2 enclosures with these guys. There's one enclosure here, and then there's another one down here. Keep in mind that this is when I was desperate to get my 5-star rating up, so I just decided why not more incredibly popular Ceratosaurs? Because these guys' rating is huge, right? Yeah. By Matanceros standards, anyway. So yeah, that's all for Matanceros. There's not really a lot going on here. Only 4 enclosures. Got relatively basic dinosaurs. I love just watching them though. They're always just moving around doing their own thing, you know? So yeah, I believe next we're going to move on to Muerta, the island of the storms. So yeah, this island is essentially known for just its storms that regularly roll through and cause issues. So here we go, Muerta. This island felt like a big difficulty spike compared to Matanceros. I felt. Because the storms are actually quite disruptive. But yeah, in here, it's quite varied. Alright, these guys are resupplying, so I don't have to worry about that feeder. So we might as well get started. We got these two main enclosures right here. So in this first one, we got 2 species of stegosaur. We got the Hywangosaurus here, which is the smaller of the 2. And then you got this... Yeah, where is the bigger form? Oh, here we go. Wait, no, this is a feeder. Chunkingosaurus, there we go. Very first stegosaurs, they both lived in this... They were both found in the same dig site, so... It kind of feels appropriate just to have the 2 together, you know? And then over on this side, we have Dilophosaurus. Let's see. One ran into the trees there. Oh, here we go. We got a whole pack of them in here. Oh wait, you guys are starving? What? Come on, there's a goat right there. Oh. There goes another one. En route to feeder. I'm gonna ask to resupply simply because it seems that they're not getting all the food they need. But yeah, love these guys as well. This is the only island that has them, which I think makes it pretty special. I mean, you can add them to other islands, but I'm talking about on my islands, basically. Isla Muerta, the island of the Dilophosaurs. God, I actually did put a lot of them in here. Jesus. There could be much more, actually. They're not going a bit overboard here. Oh, and then over here we got our herbivore enclosure. Or like our big herd herbivore enclosure, basically. We got Styracosaurus, which is the next deluxe edition dinosaur. It's the one you unlock on Muerta. Very pretty. I believe it's the only ceratopsid we have on this island as well. The only horned dinosaur. And then our only hadrosaur is Cretasaurus. Here. Got a fairly large amount of each, I believe. Might enjoy themselves. And then over here we got a very small herd of ankylosaurs. Once again, this is the only island to have them, I'm pretty sure. Oh, feeder needs resupply. Let me get on that real quick. Oh, alright, this feeder.
Feeder supplies inbound.
And yeah, you could say this is also the island you unlock monorails. So I've sort of used that to my advantage in order to get people around the island. Because from here on out, they get a lot bigger. And a lot more like, where it's more obviously enclosed spaces. Let's see here, okay. So over here we got this, essentially like the rehabilitation area, because one of the missions is essentially you receive sick dinosaurs they have to care for. So this is where they have stayed. So over here we got our Metriacanthosaurus. First time you see a Metriacanthosaurus, you don't actually unlock it until a little bit later, but this is where you get it. And then over here we got a Diplodocus. Only one of each in here. They were rescues, not necessarily things we anticipate to always keep in the park, but they're here. Bit small, Diplodocus, but meh. Finally, we have one last exhibit all the way up here. The raptor paddock. Now, this was before I knew exactly how electrical fences worked, so I essentially just made this massive, and I mean massive, basically compound to keep them in. Because these guys are very dangerous. So let's see here. Here we go, here's one. I can hear a couple in here. I believe there's 4 of them. But yeah, I love these guys. I appreciate that they weren't like toned down like they were in Jurassic World. Like, keeping these guys is absolute hell. Which it should be. These are very dangerous dinosaurs that should be difficult to contain. Just watch this guy for a bit. See another one in the trees there. Ooh, low health. Hold on. Oh. Cretosaurus died of old age, I presume, right? Yep. Alright.
En route to pick up the asset.
So yeah, moving on. Moving on, we'll be going to Isla Tacano. I think it's possibly my favorite island here. So the main gimmick with this island was that you started off bankrupt and you had to build your way up from that. But yeah, this is some of my favorite dinosaurs, and it also has some of my favorite exhibits. So it'll be very cool to see.
Asset has been collected.
Here we are. It's also the biggest island we managed to get so far, so there's a lot to go over. I like this mainstream, this like main street type area. This feels more like a park, honestly, than the last ones. The monorail is also extra important because of just how big this island is. Like, look at this. Absolutely tremendous. So yeah, we got a lot to go through on this island. So, the first thing that the visitors see are velociraptors. So, yes, they're also here on this island, on Tacano. There's less of them here, only 3 of them, instead of 4. But again, when you start off the island, this is originally a herbivore enclosure, but the mission demanded there be velociraptors, so I just sort of fashioned this into their enclosure instead. The herbivores we'll be seeing later. Yeah, speaking of raptors, Tacano Hold on. Forgive me for seeing things beforehand, but I still gotta manage stuff, you know?
Heading to pick up the asset. But yeah, a bit of a teaser to this area down here. I believe it's what we'll do last. But speaking of raptors, Tacano is where we're introduced to the only other species of raptor in this game. Heading to the feeder now.
So we got Velociraptor here, and then all the way up here, we got a second, smaller compound. And in this one,
Transporting asset.
we have the raptor's cousin, Deinonychus. Oh. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's quite a few of them in here. 3 or 4, I don't remember. Looks like 4. So yeah, quite a bit more forested. These Deinonychus also have a neighbor though. They also have, I like to call him a roommate. Here we go, a Nodosaurus. So yeah, this guy's a herbivore, but he's defensed enough to where the Deinonychus basically leave him alone. He was pretty much forced to go in here because he was pretty much incompatible with the rest of the herbivores. He's incredibly antisocial. So she lives the rest of her life by herself in this enclosure with the carnivores. She doesn't mind. She enjoys herself. So yeah, moving all the way down here. Next up is the big girl herself, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not really much to say because it's the T-Rex. Who doesn't love the T-Rex? It is interesting to watch her mannerisms though. She just got this big, wide open enclosure. There's an entire stop on the monorail just dedicated to her, for example. The monorail goes over enclosure. I've seen her watch the monorail as it passes by, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the final area is what I consider personally my favorite exhibit that I've ever made in this game. And it is the herbivore gyrosphere area. So first off, I might as well introduce this one area that's cut off by the gyrosphere because these guys did not quite fit in with the rest of the herbivores. They couldn't coexist as well. So in here we got Torosaurus, which is a cousin of Triceratops in here. And then also Tacyntosaurus, or Syntosaurus, I believe. I believe the T is silent, but yeah, both these couldn't fit as well with the other herbivores in the gyrosphere area, so they instead have gone here. They're still seen by the visitors, but they just aren't on the main gyrosphere area. There's a fence cutting them off from everybody else. But yeah, moving on to the gyrosphere area, we got many different dinosaurs that essentially live freely together. We got Maiasaura here. The two most common inhabitants are probably Maiasaura and Parasaurolophus. They are all over the place in this enclosure. And then there's also, look down here, this is a Archaeornithomimus. There's only 2 of them in here. A couple of the smaller dinosaurs. Oh, and this is also the deluxe edition dinosaur for Tacano. It is the Archaeornithomimus. A smaller guy, but still welcome all the same. You really need some smaller guys in order to flesh out the big ones, you know? Another Archaeornithomimus. Oh, over here's our first Gallimimus. These guys are the actual Jurassic Park ostrich dinosaurs. Like the Archaeornithomimus, there's only 2 in here, but they're still welcome all the same. They're great. Over here, we also... accidentally tabbed out. We also got a pair of Diplodocus in here. This is the first time you actually get to actually breed the Diplodocus yourself instead of receiving a sick one. So yeah, that one's going out. So yeah, if you're wondering why this fence is here, this is actually entering the sauropod treetops type area. So, speaking of which, this is Brachiosaurus. There are 2 of them in this enclosure, and they are meant to stay on the treetop side, because this is where they are happiest. They have like very, very strict environmental requirements that mean that they need a lot, and I mean a lot of trees. So essentially what I've done in order to make them work in a gyrosphere big open enclosure, there's another Diplodocus by the way, is essentially you kind of fence off the area entirely except for the spaces for the gyrospheres to go through. It for the most part discourages a Brachiosaurus. They still go through sometimes, as you can see. First time we've seen a Brachiosaurus, it's out of its habitat. But for the most part, it discourages them from leaving. But pretty much everything else, from the Diplodocus to the Hadrosaurs to the ostrich dinosaurs, they come and go as they please. So yeah, you can see right here, they're moving out. So yeah, hold on, I just want to move the Brachiosaurus before we continue. And there we go. Alright. You gotta stay where you belong, buddy.
Acknowledging asset collection request.
But yeah, this is my personal favorite enclosure. I just love how everything works. It all matches together. They all live peacefully. It's just in general great. Let's take a look at that Brachiosaur. Yeah, so there's at least one free moving around right now. We only got a pair of them in here. Absolutely beautiful. So now, oh, hold on. Might as well also get this out of the way. Gotta replenish this Torosaurus.
Adding task.
This guy doesn't belong in here, so I gotta trank him and move him over to his proper area. He's gonna get mad really quickly if you don't trank him and move him. Get out of my way. Why is he chasing the Maiasaur?
Asset delivery confirmed.
I have no idea what he's doing. Oh well. He might be scared of the chopper over here, I'm not too sure. Oh, they released the Brachiosaur. Now they're in their natural area. Here we go. But yeah, the Brachiosaurs are the only ones restricted to this area here. Pretty much everything else can come and go when they want. Alright, hold on. I hear them tranking it. Yep, here we go. So, there we go. Alright. Moving on from Tacano, we got Pena, which is the island renowned for its sheer difficulty because of how little room you have. It is pretty ridiculous. It's also the very first island where you have twisters, which makes it rather bothersome. Yeah, the sinister music. It just tells you right away that this is the challenging island. I personally found Isla Sorna more challenging than Pena, but everybody's different. So here we go. The island's very, very small. There's only two main sections, or
3 if you count the main entrance, but that only has the power. And that's about it. So the monorail carries you over to this midsection here. This is where the main facilities are, as well as the herbivores. So in here is essentially a very, very thick shrubbered enclosure with only a couple of dinosaurs. Gallimimus returns once again from Tacano. There's about 4 of them in here. Then there's also Chasmosaurus, another ceratopsid. Also 4 of them in here, because social requirement. And then there's also a pair of sauropods in here. If I can find them. Oh, wonderful. Alright. Alright, so now we got an escaped dinosaur on our hands.
Heading to collect the asset.
There we go. So yeah, that's literally all the herbivores in the park. They're only in this one enclosure. But then over here we got the big predators. So in here we got our first bred Metriacanthosaurus. It's possible to get them on Tacano. It's unlocked in Tacano. But I decided to save it for Pena.
Responding to resupply request.
And it also shares the enclosure with a pack of Deinonychus. What's kind of interesting about Jurassic World Evolution is that the smaller carnivores like Raptors and Dilophosaurus, that can coexist with the bigger carnivores. They don't actually fight each other. So I decided to use that to my advantage and plop 2 different carnivores into the same exhibit. Oh, this one is also...
Transportation complete.
Alright, which feeder's out? If you're not even gonna tell me... Oh, here we go.
Understood.
Oh, here goes another one.
Attending to feeder supply.
Alright, so next up over here, we got another Tyrannosaurus. They specifically tell you to buy big ticket dinosaurs for this island, because if you're not gonna be able to have quantity, you might as well get quality. So, yeah, we got another T-Rex in this island. And you also might have noticed this is the first time we get these big, heavy security fences in order to keep these guys maintained. And over here we also got a Ceratosaurus. Just to top off the carnivores of the island. Beautiful. Now I want to get out of here before a storm starts. So, yeah, it was pretty quick because, once again, there's not really a lot on this island. It's relatively small. This monorail is an absolute hell to make, by the way, because how small the gap is in order to get stuff through. But yeah, finally, we got Isla Sorna. Its gimmick is that it's the biggest island, the final island, and it also at the start has wild dinosaurs that you need to wrangle up and contain. This is easily the biggest island, and it's split off into various sections, so... I also believe it has the most different dinosaur species. Simply because I didn't really get to experiment on Pena much. So yeah, at the start, you only have this compound here, this area here, and pretty much the entire island bare. But as you can see here, the island is ginormous, and it has many, many different animals scattered around. So, might as well start up here. Once again, I went with the sort of go big or go home mentality. So, up in front, we got 2 of the biggest dinosaurs the biggest carnivores in Jurassic World Evolution up front. So we got two Spinosaurus here. I don't even know what you two are doing. Yeah, there we go. Go back. Thank you. Spinosaurus was one of the first, was the only carnivore that you could like recapture and use for the park. So I decided why not do that and put it up in the front as the like main attraction. Feeder supply. I have so many different helicopters and jeeps around because how big this island is. If I only had like 3 jeeps and a chopper, it would take forever to get things done. So yeah, we got 2 Spinosaurs over here. And then over here, we got the Giganotosaurus. Very cool. Love that you can hear the Spinosaurus across the way. Oh. Alright, there's another feeder out.
Asset to be collected.
Now, keep in mind, forgive me if there's breaks in the tour, but I really need to keep this park controlled, basically.
En route to top-up feeder.
No problem.
But yeah, we might as well start over here. This sort of follows the big ticket carnivorous dinosaurs and adds more onto it. So over here we got the Indominus Rex. Looking at the visitors, huh? The Indominus Rex is such a... I'm not really a fan of hybrids in general. I think that when not done right, they are awful. But the Indominus is one of those done right, in my opinion. And I'm glad it's in the game. Very strict requirements. But we see the Indominus' neighbor over there. We'll get to him in a minute. There's very set requirements. It takes 2 million to research. Another 2 million to make. Very expensive dinosaur. Very hard to contain as well. And then over here, its neighbor is the Suchomimus. This is another deluxe edition dinosaur, which you unlock on Isla Pena. It's probably one of the most beautiful carnivorous dinosaurs that are in the game. I think this alone made the deluxe edition worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, moving on from that.
En route to collect the asset.
Let's see, there's one other carnivore in this area. Well, the Majungasaurus. This is another deluxe edition dinosaur that you get on Isla Sorna. This island, basically. Very cool. And then, finally, we've got 2 herbivore enclosures in here. Each one only has 2 species. So over here you got Pentaceratops. The only ceratopsid on this island. Then again, now that I think about it... Huh, literally every island only has 1 ceratopsid. I didn't think about that. Matanceros has Triceratops. Muerta has Styracosaurus. Tacano has Torosaurus. Pena has Casbosaurus, and this has Pentaceratops. I didn't plan it that way, I swear. But then there's also Sauropelta, which unfortunately is still in the incubator, so we won't be able to see that one yet. But then over here, we got Spinosaurus. Yes, this is an actual dinosaur. Look at that, we both got this. And we also have a herd of Pachycephalosaurus in here. These are essentially paddocks for the herbivores with the stricter social requirements. I couldn't just throw them in a big enclosure, you know? Alright, so that's a packy. There we go. So yeah, over here, this is the final singular enclosure, I think, before we get on to the big herbivore enclosures. Polacanthus. Got 2 of them in here. They're pretty chill, just sort of mind their own business. Alright, so the last exhibit in this area is a giant one with 2 big herding species. The Stegosaurus. We got around 7 of these guys in here. They require a lot of their kind in order to be happy. And then we also have Metaburosaurus, which is pretty much the same socially. Requires a lot of its kind in the same enclosure in order to be happy. So they essentially can just live their lives out here. Feeder needs resupply. Oh, over here. Alright. Excuse me.
Resupply request acknowledged.
There we go. Alright, how's the Sauropelta doing? Alright. I'm gonna open the gate so it could be let out. And you also might have noticed it's something that I've sort of done in this. On this island. Just sort of save space from these Hammond creation labs. Sort of have 2 exhibits with a single hatchery where you can just open the gate to each one and let them in. So yeah, Sauropelta. Only got 1 of them. Likes being by itself. So yeah, he's gonna run into this enclosure, so I'm just gonna close the gate behind him. Alright, come on. You can come in here, come on. There we go, you're so excited. Come on. There we go. Alright, so yeah, there's also a couple of...
Acknowledging request for feeder resupply.
There we go. Alright. So now, the only area left is this giant enclosure here. It has only 3 different species, and it's more of like sort of a river wetland type area. And oh dear, alright. So essentially similar to the Brachiosaurs, the Mamenchisaurs also require very similar forest needs. So I've essentially blocked off the same area with the same method. Alright, here we go, we got a Packy. Gotta open the door to let it inside with its brethren. So here we go, we can see it over there. Alright, here we go, come on. They know what's up. Hey. Really? Is that what you're doing? Alright, hold on. I might have shut the gate on him too soon. He's confused. There we go. There we go. You're with your group now. Alright, so over here, we have 3 different species.
Asset requiring collection. Collecting asset.
We got a Podosaurus, which was like the staple sauropod of Jurassic World. In here. And then we also have Kentrosaurus. Yeah, these are probably the most numerous dinosaurs in the enclosure. Running around enjoying themselves. And then we have Mamenchisaurus. A pair of them. Both of which got out, so we gotta put them back.
Commencing asset transit.
So yeah, as you could probably tell even from this episode, there's a lot of management which comes to caring for your parks. I want to see how these guys are, like, properly. Just, like, living it. So, yeah, oh, there goes a stegosaur, alright.
Asset delivered.
Yep, stegosaurus. There we go. Alright, so here we go. Here's the Mamentosaurus. These guys are the tallest dinosaurs in the park, by the way. They're even taller than the Brachiosaurus, I think. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're huge. But yeah, guys, that's the end of the tour, I believe. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I personally would recommend getting this game. I know there's a bit of iffiness on whether or not you should, but I think you should. If you're a fan of JPOG, you'll love this. Trust me. And I know that there's people that argue like which one is better and all that, and I could probably make that a whole video, but let me just say I think they're equals. Myself, I don't really think one beats the other. And the people, in my opinion, the people that say that JPOG just drastically outclasses this in every single category are just rose-tinted goggles, basically. Thinking of the past way too friggin' highly, let me tell you. But not to discredit JPOG. JPOG's great. But I feel like if people were greatly disappointed by this game, or were like very, very hyped about it and then were disappointed, I think that's why you don't hype up games in general, or overhype games, or anything of that nature. So yeah, on that final sentiment, I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Oh, and of course, this break out the monotony. So yes, I gotta replace the Giga now. So yeah, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna make this quick. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm once again stream Friday, 12 PM. That's the day of the patch comes out. That's when I'll be showcasing on the channel. That's when I'll be literally going through the process of unlocking it with you guys. And all that. So, thank you all for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.